Welcome to Sanskriti IAS. The Japanese PM is visiting India and Indo-Japanese relations are being taken to new heights by this bilateral talks. In this session, we are going to talk about what are the major outcomes of this bilateral talk and what are the major areas in which Japan and India are going to cooperate in the upcoming times and in the next decade. It has been tested that Japan is a long-standing partner of Indian subcontinent and the relations of India and Japan are very old and ancient in some cases. So in this session, we'll see what are the major declarations of this bilateral talk and how Japan is going to help India. The first and foremost thing is yen-rupee exchange. All the trade that is going to take place between Japan and India from this date will be done in yen, and Japan is going to invest 10 trillion yen in Indian economy. That is around 5 trillion Indian rupees. So other things that are being decided in this bilateral talk are in terms of space technology, AI transfer, infrastructure building and maritime security. Also, India and Japan are both part of major groupings on the world stage and they will try to cooperate more on these arenas. These are some news cuttings that we have compiled for you and how it is being covered in the major newspapers and news agencies. So Japan's Takaichi seeks deeper India ties on trade and security that we have talked about, and how Japan and India try to step towards direct yen rupee settlement. So these are the two major highlights of this bilateral talk. First, we need to talk about this visit. It's an official visit between 1st and 3rd July of the Japanese PM. It was earlier planned to be in Guwahati because Japan is a long-standing partner of India and it has always pledged to develop India's northeast region, and Indian government is specifically trying to develop the northeastern front of India. So it was to be held in Guwahati, northeast part of India, and it is the 16th India-Japan summit that is to advance Indian security, AI, and also the bilateral talks that are going to be held between India and Japan. The Ministry of External Affairs said the purpose of this visit is not only to deepen the economic front of India and Japan, but also to advance in other arenas such as armed forces, defense technology and cooperation between information technology and Pacific Ocean. That is the maritime security of India. India is part of Quad, G7, G20 and so is Japan. So their understanding takes a deeper role in these organizations and corporations also. So India and Japan, this summit, this is the 8 key highlights and the focus areas of both the countries. First, we need to understand where both these countries are going to cooperate. So on July 2nd, that is today, the Japanese PM is visiting and she received a ceremonial welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhavan around 10 a.m. and after that she met the Indian Prime Minister and there the declaration was signed. The bilateral talks took place several months ago and everything was done and dusted, decided before this visit only. So there are 8 major areas. First is security. Security in terms of defense security. Japan has access to one of the sharpest technologies on the global arena in terms of defense. India is trying to cooperate with Russia, Israel, America and Japan. So Japan is very advanced in security systems. So India is going to have a special relations in terms of security with Japan also, and the second one is economic security. India is heavily dependent on China in terms of trade with the US also and with some major partners. So as we have told you earlier that India is trying to diversify its trade from these countries and it is going to diversify in terms of having multiple economic partners and Japan is one of them. Also the trade and investment that Japan is going to do in India, I've told you earlier, it is going to be 10 trillion yen, that is 5 trillion Indian rupees, and it is a massive investment in India which is going to happen in next decade up to 2036, and that's a very short period for 5 trillion rupees investment. And Japan is trying to develop India's northeast, also the railway networks, the security of India and the missile systems. Then semiconductor cooperation is something that India is eyeing very heavily. India is trying to diversify its semiconductor industry because we are dependent on China. So Taiwan is our partner, and Taiwan is always in dominance of China. So India has talked with South Korea also, with Japan also, and recently PM Modi visited in the European countries also. So from there we have also got some hope that India's semiconductor industry will flourish in future. Then clean energy, artificial intelligence. AI is something that we have worked upon. AI is something that we eye for our future generation. We are not so forward in AI. We are using the Western AI modules and the technology. So we are trying to develop our own AI. How we can do it? We need somebody's help, and that help is going to come from Japan. Also telecommunication and regional and global issues. Like, see, Japan is not our neighbor. Japan is not our competitor. So we are cooperating in terms of global and regional issues. What are these issues? These issues majorly arise in the Indo-Pacific region. So recently you've heard the news that America has dropped the name Indo-Pacific region. So they are eyeing this region. They are trying to take strong steps in this region. Also China is also eyeing this region. So we need to secure ourselves in terms of maritime security, and Japan is going to help us in the same. Also the Indo-Pacific region is important not just for India but for the global trade. So if one country takes hold of it, or one region takes hold of this place, that is not in Indian interest. So we are taking help from Japan in this regard also. Then agreements on biofuel, oil and gas. Recently we are working on ethanol, we are working on alternative fuels that are there in the market, but Japan will help us in the biofuels, oil and gas supplies also. We have almost secured our gas supplies, our oil supplies, but biofuel is something that we eye for our future generations, because the oil supplies and gases are not going to last very long, and this also is not a very sustainable option. So Japan, as it is our 75th anniversary of the diplomatic relations, is giving us a kind of gift to Indian people and to our relations also. The cooperation is upstream development in biofuels, oil and natural gas. Japan will also help us in exploration of these natural resources, because we are not that advanced in this kind of technology. So how to procure biofuels and how to explore them. It will be a joint exploration mission that Japan is going to help us in. Also the mobility partnership is for skilled laborship. We have seen Japan is going to help us in AI and skilling Indian people for the future jobs. Also the student exchange is going to take place here. The partnership between Indian and Japanese university is also going to be a part of this declaration. Now the focus is on semiconductor manufacturing and connectivity. The semiconductor ecosystem, as I have told you, in India is not very strong. In Gujarat we have set up a plant, but how will it operate? What kind of skills will the workers have? This will be dependent on the success of this mission. So India is taking help from Japan. Now the advanced manufacturing is promoting Japanese investment in manufacturing sector. They will set up their cooperation of automobiles, electronics and precision engineering that we don't have in our country yet. Also the regional connectivity is enhancing physical and digital connectivity in Indo-Pacific. I have told you earlier that we are trying to take hold of the Indo-Pacific region. So Japan is going to be our major partner. Now this point we have already discussed, why it was taken out from Guwahati and why meetings are being held in New Delhi. Might be some diplomatic reason, but it was a significant move to take these meetings to Guwahati, because Japan is very adamant on making the northeastern region developed. But now the talks are shifted to Delhi. She is the Japanese PM, and these are the major strategic areas where India is having a table with the Japanese people: G7, Quad, BRICS and G20. There are other partners also, but Japan is a static partner of these groupings. So if we have strong bilateral trades, strong bilateral ties with Japan, we are going to get help in these groupings also. There are four kind of relations that we share with Japan. First is diplomatic relations, then there is defense and security, which is not very advanced till date, but we are going to take it forward from here, and economic cooperation between India and Japan, also the cultural ties that are there. We share almost similar kind of cultures. There is Buddhism in Japan, which was found in India. Also Dharma Guardian, which 2026, this is an exercise that is going to take place between Indian and Japanese militaries, and it will take place from this year to every year. Now, Japan also is accelerating military upgradation, and it is importing arms from India and giving technology in exchange to develop these arms also. So this is Asia, and Japan has its effect or impact on almost whole of the Asian region, and India is going to be a major player in the South Asia. So to be that player, India need to take help from Japan and also from other countries. So we are managing our diplomatic relations with these countries. Also, the missile system that we talked about, India and Japan, long range type 12 missile system. This could also force Beijing to think on its current scenarios and current developments in terms of missile upgradation. So India will also talk to Japan regarding this. So this is a PIB release from the Indian government. Japan commits official development assistance, that is called ODA, to India for 4 projects in sectors of urban transport, health and agriculture. These are major projects that are going to be founded by Japan in India, and they are in Maharashtra, Karnataka, Punjab, and they will benefit around a large population. Also, the total value of these projects will be $275 billion, that is around 16,420 crores. Also, the second declaration is for a loan agreement between Government of India and Japan Cooperation Agency, that is called JICA, and Japan gives all its loans through this agency. Now, the strategic and global partnership between India and Japan is further strengthening by the economic cooperations, and the economic cooperation is taking place in terms of semiconductor, AI, defense and security. These 4 are major areas that India is going to talk with Japan. Now, the Japanese companies that are establishing its presence in India, that is moving very rapidly. Now, you all know that Japan is a reliable partner, and these people are very committed to their work and to their promises. So if they will come to India, they will establish their companies in India, then it will have a positive impact on our economies also. So the major JICA projects that are running in India, you can take screenshot of this slide and remember it or memorize it later. But there are several projects by JICA. And what is JICA? I've told you, it's a loan giving agency that is investing in India. So it is already running major projects in India, and one more project that is coming. In the next decade, it will invest 10 billion yen in India. Also, talks are going about the bullet train also. You all know that PM Modi promised India that he will bring bullet trains to India, and all the major tracks will be modernized, but they are not yet modernized, or they are not yet being worked upon. But in future, we'll see with Japanese help that these projects are running and working rapidly. So this was our session about the Indo-Japanese relations and Japanese PM's visit. What are your comments? What are your thoughts about this visit? Do let us know in the comment section. Do like this video. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next session.